Hear me?
For a voiceless people, any voice is alright.
Voiceless amongst the peace lovers. Okay, good morning everyone. We have a tight schedule and my voice is a bit damaged anyway, but we start in the interest of a smooth procedure. The press coverage was quite good on the KLF. It was somewhat overshadowed by a book on Benazir Bhutto, I was told.
Yes.
And no one really knows, was it good to pull it back or should we have proceeded, but there are different opinions. Very interesting case, by the way. I, as a foreigner, immediately I think, oh, this is censorship, that should not be. But then other people would say, yeah, but there is so much stuff in the book which is not very well put together whatsoever. So as usual, we foreigners don't intervene, we just listen. But the Peace Prize, this is something which I would like to cover. Now, regarding yesterday's Peace Prize dinner, we had a dinner yesterday. You might not have noticed, but present were the Deputy Minister of Culture, representatives of NGOs, those from Pakistan and active abroad. We had many CEOs of German companies, we had journalists, some leading fashion fellows even, and we had actors, friends of NAPA, Arts Council was there, and many other established intellectuals and makers and shakers of Karachi. Thanks to all those who joined us yesterday. Back to the Peace Prize. As we will hear more about the winners and their works in the respective laudations, I would like to focus on the impact of our prize. It is awarded, and I quote, to make the public aware of outstanding literary contributions which promote peace between countries, interreligious harmony, as well as tolerance in the sense of open-mindedness. This year we got 15 entries only compared to 25 last year, and one of our awardees has received another award at this KLF. So I am asking, do we still have the right format of our Peace Prize? Perhaps we expect too much. Every year a multitude of books on peace and harmony to choose from. Besides, the majority of the award-winning titles in the past years were non-fiction, our statistic fellows found out that. Sometimes it was not easy for us jury members to select something meaningful amongst the fiction books. Probably we should look for another format to promote what the Peace Prize is all about, and I repeat, peace, interreligious harmony, and tolerance in the sense of open-mindedness. I would like to give you an example for what can be achieved if we search for new ways and means of what we call public diplomacy. This is what diplomats do when they are abroad. In October 2016, the German Consulate, in collaboration with a comic artist from Germany and 18 art students from 3 leading Karachi art schools, produced a graphic novel on vocational training, which also touches gender issues. This booklet was published in English in 2017, and I was happy to present the Urdu version yesterday at the opening ceremony of the KLF. Now, if you see the graphic novel, it reads Chances for Our Future, Aapka Mustakbil Roshan Hai. Aapka Mustakbil Roshan Hai. So if you see that graphic novel, then you will most certainly agree that contributions like this one may well promote tolerance in the sense of open-mindedness, and thus have a potential positive impact, especially on the younger generation. I would be grateful to get your views on this, but not now. Because all that remains to me right now is to thank our jury members, the jury of the KLF German Peace Prize. And those are Mr. Ayar Rahman, one of Pakistan's senior-most journalists, a writer and art critic, Dr. Syed Jafar Ahmed, Professor for History and Political Science, Karachi University, Razi Salahuddin, senior journalist, human rights activist, Pervez Hoodboy, he couldn't make it today, Christoph Hein, where is Christoph Hein? The German journalist who came to Karachi to contribute to a positive narrative of our marvelous city. Obviously he is stuck somewhere in traffic, he comes from Avari Towers. And Mr. Winkler, German Cultural Institute, and myself, we belong to the jury members. And to conclude, my team members agree with me in saying that we feel personally enriched by interacting with you the audience, you the jury members, and with OUP, of course, on literature, on the past and recent developments in the society of our host country. Many, many thanks for cooperating with us on the KLF German Peace Prize, and please allow me to thank my team members, those who act behind the scene for the KLF Peace Prize. This is Aisha Abdul Qayyum, this is Ingolf Vogel, there is Imran somewhere, Imran Shamim, and it is Shireen Ghazali, which most of you know anyway. We are the Peace Prize team, and now I hand over the stage. By the way, let me introduce Dr. Christoph Hein. Again, he missed my speech. Christoph, the journalist from Germany, from Frankfurter Allgemeine Zeitung. As I said, he came to add a little bit to a positive narrative of... and now, Amina, the floor is yours. Thank you.
I hope you can hear me. My voice is not as, I think, loud as Rainer's. But I'm delighted and very grateful to the Consulate of Germany for sponsoring this prize. I think we need a lot of prizes to encourage and to acknowledge the wonderful authors that we have in Pakistan. And I think, as you know, Karachi used to be regarded as the 6th most dangerous city in the world. And I believe now it is the 50th most dangerous city. So I read in some report. And I think some of the credit should go to the Peace Prize that we are giving over here. Thank you for your support, Rainer. Thank you for sponsoring the festival continuously for so many years, for the dinners that you have every evening, and of course at the opening of the festival, and of course for this wonderful prize. I think I'd like to pay tribute to the jury members, Sir Ghazi Salahuddin, Dr. Jafar Ahmad, Ayar Rahman Sahab, Parvez Goodboy, Dr. Christoph Hein. Thank you for reading all these books and listing, preparing a long list and a short list and a winner, of course, of the prize. And I'm absolutely delighted that Ayar Rahman Sahab is here. I regard him as the greatest living Pakistani. So it's for us, it's a big honor that he is part of our prize. And I'm also delighted to see so many of our authors over here. Dr. Rasul Baksh Rais, of course, Dr. Jafar Ahmad, Hamid Khan Sahab, Sohail Lari. Thank you so much for joining us here today. I'm also very proud that we were linked with the graphic novel on vocational training published by the Consulate of the Federal Republic of Germany. We were involved in the production of the graphic novel. And since Rainer had mentioned the controversy over the book by Sayyida Abda Hussain on Benazir Bhutto, I thought I would just read out our response to this controversy. As a global publishing organization, the accuracy and quality of our publications are our foremost priority. We have taken cognizance of the points raised to OUP in the context of the title Special Star, Benazir Bhutto's Story, written by Sayyida Abda Hussain. We have taken a decision to suspend temporarily further sales of this book while we undertake a thorough review of the book's content in consultation with the author, with other experts and with our editorial team. Scholarly integrity lies at the core of Oxford University Press's mission, and we take matters that could potentially compromise that integrity very seriously. Thank you very much for joining us for this prize, and I hope
Good morning. So now we're going to start the actual prize award ceremony, and I would like to invite Mr. A. Rahman present the nomination for the third prize, which is Prison Narratives by Ms. Akhtar Baloch.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure and a privilege to say a few words about this wonderful book, Prison Narratives by Akhtar Baloch. It's a good book for many reasons. First of all, it gives us a peek into the state of politics in the last years of Ayub regime. Sindh was in a ferment, and people were fighting for their electoral rights and for their dignity. And a large number of young people, students or otherwise, took part in the struggle. They were arrested, they were sentenced to prison, and among them was Akhtar Baloch. Perhaps the most people's rights at that time. 18 years old only. She went on a hunger strike, all by herself, except for a friend who would carry her baggage. She faced military court, she was sentenced, she stayed in prison for more than a year, and she wrote this wonderful diary. It tells us of the courage, it's a story of courage of people who can stand up for their rights and are prepared to bear any sacrifice. It is also a story of Sindhi women who are exploited by their husbands, by their kinsmen, by odd suitors who bargain for their bodies, and of our justice system, which sends innocent women to prison. This was the condition of prison 47 years ago. What is the condition today? Where were we in 1970 and where are we in 2018? This book was published in Hindi, I think in 1972 or 73. And it is pity that it took so long a time for the English language readers to have access to it. Anyhow, it is there, and I think Akhtar Baloch has squarely deserved this distinction. Thank you very much.
Where is Miss Akhtar Baloch? Or is the deputy? The son is here. Take the symbolic check and the little token which comes along with it.
Excuse me, wait a minute.
Please touch.
आप लोग बैठेंगे भाई हटा हटा नहीं क्या कर रहे हो अपना काम खराब
So, take off. Okay, thanks a lot. Yes, of course, that is now your point. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Raman Saab, for your kind words. We are very humble. My name is Asad Palijo. I am the translator of this English edition of my mother Akhtar Baloch's prison diary. First of all, on her behalf, I humbly accept this award. And my mother, unfortunately, she couldn't be here, but she joins me in thanking Mr. Reiner, Amina Sain Saiba, the esteemed jury of the German Peace Prize, and the KLF organizers for recognizing a work that was written 50 years ago under the brutal dictatorship of General Yahya Khan, where my mother was 18-year-old when she was imprisoned for her pro-democracy activism, and she only was released when democracy returned to our country. ये किताब उन्होंने हालांकि जमहूरियत के लिए जो उनकी एक्टिविज्म थी उसके लिए लिखी थी, लेकिन ये कहानियाँ जमहूरियत से भी कुछ और हैं, क्योंकि औरतें सिर्फ जमहूरियत के लिए जेलों में नहीं जाती, उनकी सबसे बड़ी सज़ा खता यह है कि वो औरत हैं, और इसीलिए ये कहानियाँ पढ़ेंगे जब तो उसमें औरतों के बारे में, उनकी डेली ट्रिब्यूलेशंस, ट्रायल्स के बारे में लिखा है। बड़ा एक तकलीफ कुन ये मरहला था रहमान साहब जब मैं ट्रांसलेट कर रहा था, क्योंकि आज भी सिंध के हालात कुछ मुख्तलिफ नहीं हैं, और ऐसे वक्त पर जब ट्रंप और मोदी का दौर हो और रुजत पसंदी की एक काली तारीख रात फैली हुई हो, और हमारे वैलेंटाइंस के ऊपर भी पाबंदी हो और खुशियों पे पाबंदी हो, एरा ऑफ बैड हैप्पीनेस, और ऐसे वक्त पर the good people of Germany have stood with us, और उन्होंने इस किताब को रिकग्नाइज किया है through this peace prize. We are very humbled. हमारे माशरे में औरत को बामकसद ज़िंदगी गुजारना बड़ी मुश्किल बात है, और अगर वो साबित करनी से और बामकसद कोई ज़िंदगी गुजारना चाहती हैं तो परवीन रहमान और सबीन महमूद की तरह उनकी आवाज़ों को खामोश किया जाता है। और ऐसे वक्त पर हम ये अवार्ड उन औरतों को डेडिकेट करते हैं जो आज भी सिंध के अजला में, अंदरूनी सिंध में, जेलों में आज भी वो बंद पड़ी हुई हैं। कुछ तो वहीं मर जाती हैं और कुछ वापस बाहर निकलती हैं, तो हमारा माशरा उनको एक्सेप्ट नहीं करता। हम उनको डेडिकेट करते हैं, और वक्त के मुख्तसर है, इसलिए मैं आखिर में ये बात कहूँगा कि मेरी ख्वाहिश होगी और मेरी वालिदा की ख्वाहिश होगी कि अगले साल इसी मंच पर, इसी प्लेटफॉर्म से हमें से कोई और इंस्पायर होकर इस किस्म का कोई काम करें और अपने कोई छोटा सा हिस्सा जरूर डालें, कि मैं समझता हूँ अगर हम सब मिलकर अपना अपना हिस्सा डालेंगे तो बहुत तब्दीली आ सकती है। जैसे अहमद फराज ने कहा था कि शिकवा जुल्मत शब से तो कहीं बेहतर था कि अपने हिस्से की कोई शमा जलाते जाते। थैंक यू।
Okay, let's move on to the second prize now, and I would like to invite Mr. Hazi Salahuddin to...
Jafar Ahmed.
Oh,
I know.
one ahead. Sorry, Mr. Said Jafar to do the second prize.
ये तस्वीर में सारे दे जाएंगे भाई। ऐसा काम ना करो ना।
Thank you very much. The second prize has been given to Indus Waters Treaty Political and Legal Dimensions by Dr. Ejaz Hussain. I have the pleasure to read this laudation. The dream of a peaceful Indian subcontinent has remained unrealized while India and Pakistan has fought 3 full-fledged wars in the last 70 years. Rooted in the manner in which the partition was done in 1947, a number of issues were created which the two countries have not been able to resolve. Kashmir has been the major bone of contention. Not only that, wars were fought over it, a continuous environment of animosity, an arms race and nuclear proliferation all have flowed from the basic issue of confrontation. In retrospect, one may say that the adverse relations between the two countries owed themselves to the colonial failure in executing the partition plan amicably. Apart from Kashmir, there were other issues as well. division of assets and the riparian rights of the two countries over the rivers. The water dispute was handled and resolved by the World Bank in 1960, but with the passage of time it emerged that aspects of the Indus Waters Treaty may become the issues for future. Dr. Ijaz Hussain, in his book, Indus Waters Treaty, Political and Legal Dimensions, has delved into the details of how the treaty was made, what had been the role of the World Bank, and how it assumed its role in a manner giving the impression that the treaty would eventually help bring India to side with the Western powers in the Cold War going on in that era. The author comes to a very alarming conclusion that no two countries are more serious candidates for the first water war in the 21st century than Pakistan and India. He holds that to comprehend this phenomenon, we need to understand the nature of the water issue between them. Dr. Ijaz Hussain's highly scholarly work is a profound step in that direction, based almost solely on the declassified documents of the World Bank and other official archives, and also a host of interviews with the highest level officials and technocrats who dealt with the issue. The author has been able to produce a very useful treatise on the subject. One may disagree with some of his assertions, but one may not have doubt about its originality and the level of scholarship the author has tried to attain. After having discussed it along with other shortlisted books submitted for Peace Prize, the committee concluded and happily announces that Dr. Ijaz Hussain's Indus Water Treaty, Political and Legal Dimensions be awarded the second best book prize in the KLF German Peace Prize contest.
So, who is here to take over the prize? Congratulations. Prize winner himself couldn't make it. Congratulations. Who would like to say a word?
Yeah, if this one,
So.
Mr. Brainer, Madam Amina Sayyed, Mr. Ayir Rahman, and very learned audience here today. Actually, Dr. Ijaz Hussain was supposed to fly over last evening to receive this award. I received a call from him a little late. He said that he had a back problem, due to which he could not travel. And so therefore, he asked me to go and collect it on his behalf. I asked him if I don't, and won't they send it over to you at your address? He said no, he has been warned in case he doesn't show up or someone else doesn't show up on his behalf, is likely to be confiscated. So I thought it's a very serious matter, I should be there to do that. One thing more he said was, he sent me on my email a speech that he had written for this occasion. I did check with Aisha here that whether it would be okay if I read that out she was kind, and he was quite insistent that he wants me to read out the speech that he had written for this occasion. Though you have already covered part of the ideas that he had, but he is very sensitive about what he has to say himself. So I know one thing for sure, an old friend, classmate of mine, that he worked very hard on that. You're absolutely right. It was years in and years out that he worked on this, particularly in Washington, D.C., where he would be looking for the most remotest documents in this behalf. They were on the sources which were as old as more than 50 years, or maybe more than 60 years old. So it is a product of a lot of labor on his part. Now, what Ijaz Hussain has written, he told me that please find the text of my speech, do as you like with it. So I asked him, what do I do? He said, read it out if you can. Nobody stops you from doing that. I said, well, I feel that nobody is stopping me, so I'm going to read it out. Anyway, the Indus Water Treaty has kept peace between Pakistan and India on the waterfront, though there have been wars because of other issues. However, tension has emerged between them for the last 2 decades or so over water because of India's dam building spree. The matter is so serious that CIA in its 2009 report predicted war between the two countries, as did the secret cable of the US ambassador to India of 5 February 2005, in which he stated that India's dam building in Kashmir could destroy the peace process and even lead to war. Similarly, in the 2012 Intelligence Community Assessment Report and a group of more than 20 UN bodies in 2009 have predicted a doomsday scenario. This viewpoint is against the contemporary thinking which discounts the possibility of water war between nations. For example, Professor Aaron Wolf of Oregon State University claims that no war has ever taken place between states over water except one which occurred between Sumerian city-states of Lagash and Umma in 2500 BC. He therefore discounts the possibility of a future war over water. This is debatable because the past cannot predict the future, and that to definitively deny the possibility of war in the future is a dicey proposition. The foregoing prognosis can be compared to the situation that existed on the eve of World War I. There was no major war for hundred years between the Congress of Vienna in World War I and World War I. Resultantly, the Europeans came to believe that they had touched the acme of civilization and were immune to war. When the war came, they were utterly shocked. We are afraid that if we continue to believe in the impossibility of war, we may be succumbing to the same complacent mindset that plagued Europe on the eve of World War I. It is noteworthy that 3 successive UN Secretaries General, namely Boutros Ghali, Kofi Annan and Ban Ki-moon, have warned that future wars will be over water. As far as Pakistan and India are concerned, Henry Kissinger in a 2013 piece predicted a nuclear war between Pakistan and India over the next 2 decades. Obviously, we can ignore these warnings at our own peril. The only way to take care of water properly for Pakistan and India is to cooperate with each other. The best way to go about it is to treat without discarding the Indus Water Treaty. The Indus Basin as an integrated unit. It will remove India's grounds that Pakistan often thwarts its hydropower projects and Pakistan's fear about India's intention to build storages over Pakistan's rivers. Besides, it will take care of the blame game resulting from the adverse effects of the climate change, which has the potential to further aggravate relations between the 2 countries. Failure to adopt an integrated approach is likely to result in a disaster for the 2 countries. In the end, I would like to express my gratitude to the eminent members of the jury from Pakistan and Germany for recognizing my book as a valuable document for promoting peace between Pakistan and India and awarded the German Peace Prize for 2002. Thank you. Thank you so much. So, on behalf of Dr. Ejaz, thanks you for the award, which he could not come to collect, but I think it's a great recognition of the hard work that he had done over the years. Thank you so much.
Best regards, sir. Dürfen wir besuchen kommen.
Now we're going to come to the highlight of today's ceremony, the bestowment of the first prize. It will go to the book Imagining Pakistan by Dr. Rasul Reis. And Mr. Hazi Salahuddin will do the honors of laudation.
Thank you so much. I don't have to now open a sealed envelope to tell you who gets the first prize. And incidentally, I think all of you may have learned by now that the same book, Imagining Pakistan, by Dr. Rasul Reis, won the KLF Non-Fiction Award yesterday. We were not working in any collusion. And it so happens that we also selected this book. In any case, the book and the author are twice blessed. I have just a few words by way of laudation. We all have our own perception of what may be termed as the crisis of Pakistan, and some aspects of it are easily grasped. But for a deeper understanding of what has gone wrong, we can greatly benefit from this well-researched study about Pakistan by one of our prominent social scientists, Dr. Rasul Reis. His Imagining Pakistan stands out for a number of reasons. In the first place, he offers hope and hope, peace. We have some, yes, hope here also. He offers hope that we can meet the challenge of radical Islam. And he prescribed specific measures to reform the Pakistani state and build a moderate, tolerant and pluralistic society. Essentially, he has argued that, and I quote his words, the creation of Pakistan was a result of Muslim modernism that greatly shaped an epic struggle for identity, nationalism and empowerment of the Muslim communities. At the same time, he agrees that resistance from the Islamists had emerged in the early years, though the real threat to political modernization came from the military. And he has really explored this point at great length, and he finds it a very important factor in the history of Pakistan, the intervention by the military. Rasul Reis engages us in a conversation on Pakistan in a holistic sense, using lenses of history, sociology, politics, and humanities. The book is a verification of the fact that the author has been writing and teaching about Pakistan at the university level for more than 4 decades. While he underlines the need to explore how Pakistan's identity has become conflicted, he also believes that mere resilience of the society or the use of military means to defeat terrorism may not be enough. We must re-engage with the founding ideas of political modernity. He also argues that Islam and modernity are not really conflicting. He has examined why Pakistan has not lived up to the liberal vision and promise of its founders, and how long decades of misrule, civilian and military authoritarianism, and the mafia-like organized corruption within the ruling class and state institutions have undermined the democratic faith of the ordinary citizens. As for the enduring problems of the state, Rasool Baksh Rais has three indicators. Simple: military intervention, failure of the political class to provide leadership, and political violence, including religious extremism and ethnic conflict. We can see that Pakistan presents conflicting and confusing trends of chaos and order, of pessimism and optimism, of corruption and integrity, but there is hope. And I conclude with a quote from the book. Pakistan's gradual takeover by a coalition of bureaucratic military establishment and feudal oligarchy has begun to provoke an intellectual, social and political reaction from the middle class and civil society. Thank you.
Journalists, please give them a chance. Please come closer to me. German KLF German Peace Prize 2018. Thank you.
Ustad Mohtaram Tayyir Ahmad Sahab. He is Ustad Mohtaram not only for me but for as well for generations. It's truly a source of inspiration that he has been for decades. His intellectual resistance to oppression, his quest for justice, freedom, equality and dignity of Pakistani citizens. Your Excellency, Rena Shbilam, friend from Germany, Mutarma Abina Sayyed, again one of the great Pakistanis, who really revived Oxford University Press. Before her being in this position, we didn't know that there was Oxford University Press. Maybe our ignorance. And of course this KLF festival. Friends, ladies and gentlemen, I'm really humbled, I'm really honored by the award of this prize. I hope this also in my two-liner dedication in the book to my two mothers. Unlike many of you, I come from a very traditional family from southern Punjab. My father had two wives, and both of them were my mothers. They took care of me. Their sacrifices, their selflessness, their love, and their encouragement throughout my life have been a source of great strength. When I started writing about 5-6 years back, this manuscript went through a lot of transitions. The original title of the book was Disputed Destiny of Pakistan, Modernism and the Challenge of Radical Islam. At the last minute I changed it. Why did I change it? My children are more concerned about my security and safety in Pakistan. Whenever I write something very strong in my columns. A few weeks back I wrote in response to Faizabad Dharna on the language, the aggression, the violence that we saw there. I wrote the rise of religious fascism in Pakistan. I think editors at Express Tribune had a good discretion. They removed religious. And later on I thought that that was a good decision. But when my children read it, they sent me really a kind of alarming message. Baba, what are you doing? So you can imagine that with all the freedom in the media that seems to be very superficial. We talk a lot, but there's something that we are really hesitant. There is a self-censorship in Pakistan. And this was the self-censorship that I changed the title, mellowed it down to Imagining Pakistan, Modernism and the Politics of Islamic Revival. But then in content, I have not changed a single bit. The content remains the same as it was. Salahuddin Sahab, thank you very much for giving a gist of the book, the argument. Just few words now. Understanding the meaning, the creation, the struggle, the destiny of Pakistan has become a little bit conflicted. Which ideological position you take, which social and economic background you come from, which ethnicity you belong to. But if you read particularly the Muslim intellectual and political history in the later part of 19th century, for about 90 years or 100 years or so, to the creation of Pakistan, one thing that emerged very clear in my mind, and I want to hold on to this, and I wrote it, I think, in the preface or in the introduction, that Pakistan was the dream and ideal and imagination of Muslim modernists. So therefore we need to a little bit know about Muslim modernism and Muslim modernity. Just to say, explain in a single word, as Salahuddin Sahab also mentioned, that modernity and Islam or any other religion are not essentially or intrinsically in conflict. Right? They have to be in conflict. They are not. They are misunderstood. And then when we talk about modernism, there was a lot about Ayub Khan's. Ayub Khan is a modernist. You don't look at modernism in terms of building societies, structures, roads, motorways. Modernism is here. European modernity was here after Renaissance, with idea of freedom, equality, right, justice, dignity. And they're very hard to realize in a hierarchical, feudalistic and oppressive society. So, I believe that the troubles we have been through, the deviations from modernity, in political sense it is constitutionalism, a restrained government working under law, establishing rule of law. And it started with the Ayub Khan's military takeover. And deviations started from that. So at the end I would like to express my gratitude to the members of the jury for reading it and for rewarding me this great honor, to of course KLF and the German Consulate and the Federal Republic of Germany hand and the people of the Republic of Germany, because it is their taxpayers' money. Thank you for recognizing it. Thank you.
What a speech, ladies and gentlemen. It inspires me to these last few words before perhaps all the prize winners will join us on stage for a group picture. But as he mentioned already, the prize and the German Consulate, this is nice, but that's just on the surface. And now for the journalists, I would like to underline that there are 80 millions in Germany who wouldn't let Pakistan alone. I hear that very often, we Pakistanis, no one cares for us, and we are surrounded by enemies and by countries who are not so favorable of us. No, there are some 80 million Germans for 200 million Pakistanis. You are not alone, and the progressive forces in the country can always rely on German support. This is the message of the German Peace Prize. Thank you very much for coming, thank you very much for your attention, and have a nice rest of the KLF now. And please, the prize winners, join us for a group picture. Thank you. And the jury members also.